we're going to call to order the new Commissioners meeting on December 14th. Would you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and also a quick moment of silence? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, so we'll start with the announcements. Just note that the meeting will be recorded. We actually had 2 executive sessions since the last meeting. One was earlier this morning and the other was last week. In our correspondence, you will see here, there is a letter from the Department of Corrections, which is really cool. The Warren County Prison earned full compliance during 2022. And it was evident throughout the facility, their compliance, and staff at Warren County Prison should be proud of their accomplishments and are encouraged to maintain. And as a result of this, the Warren County Prison is exempt from the normal 1-year inspection cycle. So they can go another year without having the Department of Corrections come in and audit them. So that's cool stuff. Sheriff is not here. He's supposed to be here. Why don't we save this for later and see if he shows? Okay. Any public comment? We do have some public here. No? Okay. Very good. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. The first item on the consent agenda are the minutes of the November 23rd, 2022 public meeting. Are there any changes associated with the minutes that you have before you? Okay. Good. All right, we're going to move on to the finance report. Lisa, would you share with us what report we have see in front of us?
Yeah, we have $3,377,257 in our bank accounts as of today. You can see the amounts that are in the ARPA funding and the ERAT. Do you have the budget out for public review?
Great. And we'll, if all goes well, we'll actually plan on having that for approval next commissioner meeting, which would be the 28th.
So we'll be sending a budget news release today. We
Okay.
should have sent that out a week ago, but I think that we've been running around and doing that. And that will entail the narrative related to the budget, which is
No tax increase.
no tax increase and balanced budget with no need for savings expenses or anything associated.
Yep. Yes. It's good news story for the county. The next item on the consent agenda is the human resource report. Someone that would share that?
Human Resources Report as of December 1st, 2022. New hires for the county include Karen Cook, effective 11/1/22, in adult probation as a collections aide. Audrey Davis, effective 11/7/22, at MDJ Bauer's office as an administrative assistant. Deborah Harris, effective 11/7/22, at the jail as a part-time corrections officer. Mary Allen, effective 11/7/22, in the Veterans Affairs office in the clerical position. Changes included Benjamin Valero, effective 11/18/22, who went from a part-time to a full-time corrections officer at the jail. And separations from the county include Anna Baldensberger, effective 11/2/22, who was a caseworker 1 in the Children and Youth Department. She was not pension eligible. Keegan Howard, effective 11/3/22, who was a part-time corrections officer at the jail. He was not pension eligible. Mary Blair, effective 11/4/22, at MDJ Bauer's office. She was an administrative assistant and she is pension eligible. Deborah Harris, effective 11/8/22. She was a part-time corrections officer at the jail and she was not pension eligible. Stephanie O'Donnell, effective 11/9/22, who was a corrections officer at the jail. She was not pension eligible.
And then you'll see in your packet here, the monthly department reports, which shares a lot about what's going on in the election office, as well as planning and zoning. So just for you to note. The next item on the consent agenda and the last item on the consent agenda is a proclamation for Christmas of 2022. Commissioner Kaufman, would you be willing to share some of that with us?
Sure. As Luke 2 says, I bring you good news, with great joy that will be for all the people. Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is Christ the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in clothes and lying in a manger. So for 2,000 years, we've celebrated Christmas, and of course, Warren County, at least for the last 6 or so years, has proclaimed the holiday officially in Warren County. So we continue that tradition by proclaiming December 25th as Christmas Day. Of course, I would ask that citizens and employees enjoy the reason for the season and their families that day.
Thank you.
With that, I move the consent agenda.
Just have one more thing I would actually like to add under the finance report, awarding the TAN for 2023. And I think, Lisa, you were prepared to speak to that. We received 3 proposals.
We received 3 proposals, and I recommend that we accept Key Bank's proposal.
So for minute purposes, it would probably be cleaner if you pass the consent agenda. And you're asking to add.
Yes.
Okay, so I would add to my motion then, adding the TAN to the agenda.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, very good. The consent agenda is complete. Do we need a motion to approve the consent agenda then, since you modified it by adding it? So, we're good. All right, and in announcements, we were intending to share a plaque that we had made with the Sheriff's Department, so thank you for coming. This is a plaque that is a picture of Larry Kopko, and shared that his with gratitude and appreciation for your years of dedicated service to Warren County as sheriff. We had actually honored him at the last commissioners meeting and shared a little bit about his history here. So we are asking that you find a place to put this in your department in memorial of him.
We will.
Thank you. Yeah, let's do it. That's because things are going so much.
Marcy also wants to stop
Yeah, Marcy, I can't see you. There you go, don't move. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much.
There's only so much you can do with meeting art. I thought it was good. I thought it was good. They would have done that if I quoted you or done it, whatever.
So under old business,
Yeah. They're like, this is great.
under old business, we have a proposal here, the contract management system for Warren County. Actually, it's a program to set up an agreement approval process in Laserfiche so that we can track all of the agreements and where they are in stages of approval. I did have a conference call with them last week. Just they shared with me who they were, what they did. I think Mr. Kafferlin and Lisa Hagberg had already heard from them, as well as Pam Mappy. So this is for a contract management system that would be for $12,500 to be, looks like, I think I recall him saying that would take maybe a couple months of work and that we could have all of those contract services electronic. So do I have a motion to accept the momentum proposal?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Second, all right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The next item on the agenda is Johnson Controls. We have a fire panel replacement, and this is for $3,996. Pam, do you just want to just give a quick description of what this will entail?
This fire panel activates our sprinklers, our smoke detectors, and our panic buttons. And the system that we have is obsolete, and so we need to get it replaced, and that's what this will entail.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve this purchase of $3,996 service?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. The next resolution is resolution number 3233. This would be to authorize the allocation of $750,000 to the Riverfront boat launch project. See, there are some members of City Council here. Does anyone wish to speak?
Well, I think that the study that has been done about the economic impact to all of Warren County, I would say, just not specifically to Warren, because there are more and more kayaks, canoes, and other floating devices, even inner tubes, that I see coming down the river. And over the years, I have seen just, the volume just move up. And it got to the point where you can even say that, the dam, the Corps of Engineers and that recognized the volume, and then so they've expanded their access at the rest of the dam for cars and trailers and what have you, because of the number of the congestion that's even going there. This boat ramp will certainly give an opportunity for people to say, let's stop, because it's an easy access and that. Right now, there is no easy place to put in except at Betts Park. Even Allegheny Outfitters has to have the canoe school partway up the Conaloo Creek in order to retrieve them and that. So from a safety standpoint, an easy access and an attraction to come in at that point, I think benefits a lot, not only the city of Warren, but Warren County per se and its residents, and then all the tourists that are now coming into this area, not only for the bike trails, boating on the dam itself, camping, and then coming down the river and that. So I think this is sort of a win-win for all, and certainly from a city council standpoint and that, we believe that the county commissioners and obviously we ourselves are putting money into this, and so we hope that this gets a favorable review and approval.
I'd also like to add that I think having an interagency collaboration with both the city and county shows not only city residents but county residents that there's a vested interest in the future and growth economically and in terms of populace in the city, and I think that will encourage future development to ensue because it shows that we really are a team and we work together well, and so I just wanted to add that along with Councilman Ashton's comments.
And the city of Warren obviously is in the county, so.
That was going to be my comment. We appreciate the consideration for what I'm guessing is an extra $250,000 in addition to the initial $500,000 commitment by the county. So we do appreciate that, and the bump in tourism is certainly what benefits the city, benefits the county in its entirety in terms of tax dollars and revenue. So we do appreciate the consideration.
Right. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve resolution 3233?
second.
All those in favor?
Well, clarifying question.
Yes, please.
Before the last resolution authorizing 500,000 had a lot more verbiage in this. Is it our understanding that this resolution 3233 is simply modifying the amount of that previous resolution? And the reason I ask is just because it's so vague. But I guess I would want
Yes.
the understanding to be that this is essentially a reauthorization of the previous resolution, just changing the number to 7.
Yes, and I think we should clarify that in the minutes, make sure that our intention is clear.
I think, so I have numerous comments on
Go
this. Part of the reason I believe that Commissioner Kaplan is making that comment is I believe the original resolution had like the county being somewhat involved, at least from the standpoint of being able to approve whatever plans move forward in order to authorize the 500,000. So we'd really like to be engaged with the city as far as how this moves forward, because we are allocating a substantive amount of money to the match, and we really feel like the county needs to be at the table as a part of those discussions, as what is not a 50-50 partner, certainly, because the city has far more allocated, but certainly as an entity that has a vested interest in the success of the project. I have just a couple comments on the project in general, because I don't, you folks have been here before or whatever, but I don't know that we've discussed this maybe at length the way that I probably would prefer. But the first thing is the project isn't a boat launch. Like, the boat launch is a part of the project. We really need to stop referring to it as a boat launch, because people hear that and they think that it's just a boat launch, and then you're spending $2.5, $3, $4, $5, $6 million on a boat launch. That's not the case. The boat launch is an important feature of the project, an incredibly important feature, especially from a security standpoint, like from the safety standpoint. So that's part of the reason that I support it. The tourism piece, I think there are a lot of things that you could debate about, but the safety standpoint, certainly in relation to the hospital, access to the river, all the different things, that's a really important piece. My concern with this project is that there's such an interest at this point in moving forward with something that I think that a lot of other stuff seems to get lost in the discussion. That's just my opinion. I would highly recommend that the city engages with the grant writer for the county, Kim Slocum, to discuss how she can assist you guys in working collaboratively, even from the standpoint of the county writing grants, in order to assist with the development, because I think there are a lot of other pools of money that you could be going after for that overall project. But in order to do that, really, you're going to need to incorporate other things into the project. I've been to several meetings where people have discussed it, and they're kind of saying, okay, well, we're at our wits' end trying to figure out how to get grant money for this thing. And my response is always, listen, anybody that looks at this project as it stands today is going to see a road and a boat launch. That's all they're going to see in the project. There need to be cultural elements tied into it. There needs to be entertainment. There needs to be art and other elements that are tied into the project. And you're not going to do that without a more comprehensive strategy to address it. Like, I understand why we're where we're at, because there are so many different vested interests in this project. It's hard to get it to move forward. And originally, I mean, the road was a mess, so it's not hard to say, well, we got to fix the road. That, we want access to the river. We need a boat launch. But from my perspective, this can either be the biggest, the biggest economic and tied into tourism, the biggest economic shift in the county in decades, if it's done right. And my concern right now is that really we're just focusing on a couple of very major financially pieces to it, but we're missing some of the other pieces. And I know that when I shared this project with Kim Slocum when she was first hired, and she read through it, she really felt like there were a lot of things being left on the table that could be incorporated into the project that would actually make it easier to fund and make it more attractive to federal and state people who want to grant money to the project. So again, I'm not, this isn't so much a matter of, I'm not trying to in any way cast aspersions or judgments or, you know, I know you guys are doing the best you can. These are just suggestions. Like, we could really help you with this project, really fundamentally, and I think help you get it funded and help it be a success. And so I would highly encourage the city council to take some time and ask themselves how they could engage the county and how we could integrate ourselves into your process in order to make it more successful. So
That's it. My response to that is we certainly will welcome any help that and suggestions that we can have. I think the last county commissioners meeting, I mentioned that this is an important ingredient of getting started, because it won't be in all likelihood until 2025 when we actually get under construction, because of all the environmental permits and so forth that you have to get. So as we would find other funding to start finishing off this project, that will be easier to move forward on. But this is such a key thing to get this, you know, it's sort of the anchor of this whole project to get started. And you know, we recognize the fact that there's more to do, and there's more funding that has to be required. If we got the Build Back Better grant, obviously this, you know, all the funding would be in place for the whole project. But you know, so there's that bike situation at the end of.
Do you have a subcommittee that's part of this planning process? I've not been totally involved, so.
We have not done that per se. Jared here heads up our marketing committee. We will engage with Mike Holtz, who is our acting city manager, saying let's get involved with your grant writer in that. We are going to probably be out looking for a grant writer also, as to reconfiguration of how we're going to potentially rearrange what's going on at the city. And so, no, we're, you know, any help is more than welcome. Any suggestions, you know, anything that Ms. Slocum can help us with.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and so my point is because of the city's scope being as big as it is, it's very often the case where the county doesn't want to step on the city's toes, because we realize you guys have a lot of stuff going on. But Kim Slocum is working with the other municipalities. There's absolutely no reason she shouldn't be working with the city and help you, because previously Nancy did the lion's share of your grant writing, and now she's, you know, retired. Yeah, I was trying to think of what the right term. I didn't want to use the wrong term. You know, I don't know that there's anybody else in your administration that has the same level of grant writing experience. Kim very easily could work with you and help you put some stuff together, because I think, you know, there's been a focus on, you know, RCAP funding. There's been focus on a few other big buckets, the situation with the Build Back Better, but we really firmly believe that there's money in other buckets at the state and federal level that we could go after if we just focused on a few of the finer points of the overall plan that would help, that would really make a big difference in getting funding, especially when you tie in, you know, the ACC and the senior center at the end of the block, and you tie in cultural elements, especially like the entertainment and recreation piece to it, which really, in my opinion, hasn't been, could be, there could be, I think that if we invested some time in that, I think that could be a real easy way to get some of this other stuff done. And
Commissioner Eggleston, pardon me, but were any of those suggestions or recommendations shared with the city? That we were potentially leaving anything on the table?
Well, part of the reason that I bring this up is I feel like this is a good time to kind of reinvigorate the discussion related to it. You have a transition in your administration. You know, you've had turnover in your city council, so there's different members involved. These are discussions that we've had for several years, and there have been multiple times we've suggested to different folks, I'm not saying you three, but to different folks that, hey, let's partner on this and figure out a way to do X, Y, and Z, because we really think, like especially after hiring Kim, we have additional assets that could be brought to bear to assist you, to assist in a collaborative setting. And I think it makes it easier for you folks to make the case when you have county support, not just financially, but also administratively, you know, when you're trying to go after the bigger state and federal grants. Like for some of the stuff that you guys want to do, you know, DCNR, like there's so many different departments that we've even had conversations with in the past 2 months that could be resources. Not the whole thing, not all the funding, but all those little pieces, and make a patchwork quilt that turns into a real gem when it's finished. So
I would definitely agree that Kim's would help, especially from like a recreational planning standpoint, and kind of diversifying the offering of what the riverfront development could be. So
yeah.
I think that's a wonderful suggestion, so thank you for that. So I think we could have a beneficial conversation with her in regards even to smaller grants for recreational purposes, like the arts or education. So I think that's something we could definitely look into.
Yeah, and I would just say this, that you talk about our, but it's we, you know, together, vision of how we can work together and make Warren County, not only the city, but Warren County a much better place to live and recreate in and culturally grow. So, no, we're believe me, I'm very, very interested
So would
in
it
moving that forward.
make sense that we provide the funding as we had outlined here with the caveat that Commissioner Cafferlin mentioned that would be more robust as it relates to the verbiage associated in the minutes? And would we consider making the assumption that a member like Kim Slocum or a commissioner would be on a subcommittee that would be formed for this project?
Well, that would be preferable. That said, I don't think it has to be a part of the motion. My view is
Great.
Our view is we're committing the funds to the project with the understanding that we're going to be able to take a look at it and say that we're 100% comfortable with it when it moves forward.
Okay.
That's it. Which I don't think that we're not necessarily looking to look over anybody's shoulder, but it's like we just want to make sure that the funds are used judiciously. That's it.
All right.
And on the flip side of it, just anecdotally, we would ask that we have a more engaged role in the development of the project. So that's it.
Not a problem. You're a shareholder
Yep.
and a stakeholder, however you want to say it.
We're all in this together.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second, we'll call for vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on to resolution 3234. We have sale of some excess personal property and equipment via the online auction. And that would be a 2014 Ford Explorer police vehicle and a 2013 Ford Explorer police vehicle. They will be advertised on the GovDeals website, and the value that we know is already equal to or exceeds $1,000 collectively. Also will be advertised in the Warren Times Observer. Do I have a motion to pass this resolution to sell these two pieces of equipment on govs.com and also put an added Warren Times Observer?
I move resolution 3234 with one clarification that I think the domains don't match in sections 1 and 3. One of them is probably right, one of them is wrong, but as our IT department is blocking both, I can't tell you which one's right.
I will second Commissioner Cafferlin's robust
All
motion.
right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Now we have resolution number 3235, amending the C-Pace Program / agreement accepting the expansion. So we did get a presentation earlier this week from C-Pace, and apparently that program has been expanded to include other properties, one of which is multi-dwelling units that were 5 units in one particular location or more. Do I have a motion to to adopt resolution 3235, amending the C-Pace program.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
I think it's important to note that the city was the one that originally approached us about doing C-Pace, and we were happy to sign on before, and I'm not aware of anyone that's actually utilized it yet, but just by expanding the program to whatever, family dwellings or whatever, is very potentially impactful, particularly for the city.
Agreed. All right, all those signify they're in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. And next is repository tax bids. Looks like there's just one here, tax parcel SH 367-258-200. It is in Sheffield Township on 320 Church Street. The assessed value is $1,100. There's a single bidder here, Benjamin Lindemuth, and the bid amount is $1,500. Is there a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and moving on. The maintenance agreement with Eaton UPS Service. This is the public safety building battery backup system. Any comments from you, Mr. McCorson, on this?
So they're a newer vendor to us. We've had really good success with them. They remote monitor our battery backup, and we're getting towards the end of the warranty on that equipment. We'd like to place it under a continuing maintenance agreement.
Okay, and that's for $6,944. Do you have a motion to approve that for?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
This is pretty key. This was the system that we replaced like, 5 years ago, because the previous one was hobbled together with Chinese parts.
That would be the one that I spent Christmas morning, my first year as director, standing in the back room with the smoking battery backup.
Yeah, that one.
That one's no longer there. We have this very nice new system.
Very good.
Very good. All those signify in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Approval of the amendment to the P-CHIP member agreement with Benecon. Lisa, do you want to speak to this just for a minute or two here?
Yeah, this is really just a housekeeping issue on the chip side of things, just a review of their agreements and sending them out to the membership.
So we have an agreement with them already, an intergovernmental cooperation agreement, and then you'll see that the amendments were effective November 1st, 2022, and we're adopting it today. Do I have I
move to ratify the amendments changes.
okay?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. And lastly, the USDA grant application for the purchase of a sheriff's vehicle. This is part grant, part loan, if I remember correctly, Lisa?
That's correct.
Okay, very good. I'm looking for the amount.
Vehicle is about $38,000, and then the additional items are about $26,000.
Okay. Very good. So do I have an approval of the USDA grant application for this purchase?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second, all right.
Yeah, it's important to note that this is a tool to save us money,
Yes.
and USDA, but between the grant and then also the low interest
Purchase
loan, we should significantly save money for the county because we're going to have to replace this vehicle one way or the other. So thank you to Lisa and everybody in the finance office for taking the initiative on this. It's much appreciated.
Great. A motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any other things to be brought before the commissioners today? Any comments?
The Veterans Affairs position.
Yeah, I would make a motion to officially appoint Pam Matby, Chief Clerk, as the interim Veterans Affairs Director.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Do we have to literally appoint somebody?
thought we would do it, just to make it more official, so that maybe we can get some help with Veterans Affairs.
Oh, yeah?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm fine with it either way.
We talked about it, we just have to act on
Sounds
it.
good. Yeah.
Very good. How about a motion to adjourn?
Well, I just add that the position is going to be posted and that this is a
Yes,
temporary situation.
absolutely, yes.